Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to add a contact to the flow campaign. So if we go over here to activities and tasks, we can see our activity feed and we can see that there's no task assigned. So the tasks are the primary driver or trigger for the non-automated flow items, okay? And so what some people have done is added the flow tag, but that really doesn't activate the campaign. It just is really more of an indicator that that person's on flow. So in order to add a person to flow correctly, what you do within the contact record is go to campaigns, click on that. We can see that no campaigns are assigned. Now campaigns are really just a list of activities or a list of tasks that get assigned to a contact. So we're going to assign the flow campaign or the flow activities to this contact. You can see these will be assigned to me as the team member. And if we go down here, we'll click on Warm Lead Flow and save, and that will add the flow task or flow campaign to this contact. So click over on Activities and Tasks, and you can see that these have been added. Now there are two important things to know here. You can go in and edit the task by clicking on the link, and that will show you the title and so on. Or you can click on complete. And so while we're in here, we can see in the description it says add tags, flow, and newsletter. So I'm going to do that. Click on tag. As I start to type in newsletter, I can go down and click on that, and it has added the newsletter tag. And I can do the same with flow. We'll add the flow tag. Now the newsletter tag is really important because that's how we determine who will be downloaded each month in order to send our newsletters to. So if they don't have this tag, they won't be getting your newsletter. Now that this task is complete, I'm going to click on these little dots over here, and I'm going to click on Complete Task. It will ask if I want to add any notes. I don't need to here, so I'll just click on Complete. And that task will go into the completed list, and it disappears from the active list. Your goal is to have no overdue task in the pipeline here. Schedule fall call for pie delivery. So I click on that, and the shortcut, instead of creating a new task based off of this schedule task, I'm just going to delete the start here. So now it just says call for pie delivery, but I don't want to do that today, which is February 4th. I'm going to change that to the date that makes sense, which might be November 5th. So I've updated the task, call for pie delivery heads up, just so they know it's coming, and that is going to pop up on my dashboard on November 5th. The last step here is to save that. Now you can see it goes from the top. Now it sorts, there are different ways to sort, but by default it sorts the first tasks that are due down to the last ones. So we moved this task to be due in November, so it's going to stay here, but it's not going to show as being due. Schedule spring call for RPR heads up. Again, just going to adjust this, and this is recommending the last 2 weeks in March. So do it whenever you're comfortable. I think the last 2 weeks of March is good, or really any time in March. We want to hit them in the spring market so that we can leverage any referrals. Save. Schedule to send a handwritten note. Now the flow worksheet that we have in the team drive has a few recommended dates. It's a great idea to send a note, for happy birthday, just thinking of you. There's really no bad reason to send a note. But what ideally you would do is send it during a time, if you've just sent the RPR report, maybe space it out so that they're getting some live flow touches throughout the year. So we'll just say, let's do this in June, assuming other than the newsletters, not much is happening then. Schedule text for happy house anniversary. Now, What I would do here is go into the MLS pin, go into public records, and I can see when Sasha bought her house. So what I'm going to do is actually go in, I can click on edit here, or I can go to contact details. Clicking edit takes me right to the edit screen, so I'm going to do that. And let's assume that I looked at public record and she closed on October 15th in 1980. So I would put closed 10/15, whatever, however you'd like to do that. And what adding to the warning box will do is it's going to put this note right over here under her other critical information. So you might also add information like their son's name. So you want to have any critical information here. But while I'm in her contact record, I see that Sasha doesn't have her proper last name. So I'm going to add that in because we want the mailing labels to make sense. So I'm double checking her name. If you need to change her status, this is a good time to do it. The email obviously doesn't work. In fact, it's showing that it's bounced here, okay? And so what I would do is, let's just say smiller at no email. Now, obviously that's a fake email also, but you need to make sure that their name, email, and phone number are all in the system. Otherwise, Flow just doesn't work. So I'm going to add in the phone number too. And last but definitely not least is the mailing address. Okay, so now I have a complete profile for Sasha Miller, and I'm going to save this. And you'll see that it updates the phone number, the email, and it adds that critical information. Oh, you've been in the house for X number of years. How's your son, Jack? Just makes it easier to have a conversation. When I go back to activities and tasks, I can click on and edit this task. Text happy house anniversary. Well, I know that I just looked that up and they have their house anniversary on October 15th. Sometimes editing this is a little bit of a pain in the neck here. So October 15th, I'll get a notice that I should send them a text. And while I'm in here, I'll just update the task type to match what I'll actually be doing and save. Text for Happy New Year. Well, it would make sense to do that at the start of the year, maybe in the first or second week. Save that. Set up neighborhood street watch. Now, what I would do for Sasha here is create a search around her house, maybe her immediate street, of course, and maybe another side street or two that she would typically drive down when going to or from work. I want to look for any houses that are being listed for sale, under agreement, or sold. And that way, by creating that search in the MLS, they'll automatically pop up in my dashboard. And when I see those changes, I can notify Sasha about what's happening in the neighborhood. It's a great reason to connect, and it adds the credibility as a neighborhood expert for her. So let's assume I've done that. I'm going to click on these dots and complete. And let's also assume that I've gone in and connected with her on LinkedIn and Facebook or any other social media that you like. Now, if this is a first connection, typically what I'll do is connect on LinkedIn first, and then after that connection's made, maybe wait a few weeks or months and then connect on Facebook. I just don't like to connect from every which direction and might seem a little strange for people. So spread that out. So let's assume that's done. Complete the task. Now at this point, Flow is set up. the next task that will come up is going to be March. After that, in June, she has a newsletter. She's on Flow. All of her contact information is done. And you can see that it does take a little bit of time to get the person set up initially. But once this is done, it's just going to virtually be on automatic pilot. But let me show you a tip here. Now, after I call with the heads up and I do the RPR report, I could just simply click on Complete Task. But then I have to go in and create a brand new task and type, and it takes a little bit of extra time. So an easier way to do this is to click here. I'm going to just change the year. So assuming I've just done it, it's March 11th, I just made the call. I'll just go in here and change the date, click Save, and now it's going to pop up next March. It's a lot less typing, and it prepares my task for next year. That's how you set up a person on Flow. Again, make sure that as you add people to Flow, you're setting up the campaign. The first time is a little bit of work, but after that, your people will be in contact and it's easy to maintain the system.